Less than 2 weeks to go, and there's plenty of attention on Manchester United. Darmish, any good news for United fans regarding Jadon Sancho?
As it stands, no. And look, time is running out for Manchester United to make that official move. And even if they do, Borussia Dortmund don't look like they are budging at all. Now, I'm told today United knew well in advance about an August the 1st deadline that they were to bring Borussia Dortmund to the table and try and discuss a deal over Jadon Sancho. That deadline then got extended to August the 10th when Dortmund went on a pre-season training camp. Now, United didn't make any contact before that date. Instead, they chose to focus on what would seem to be perceived issues with agents' fees, with personal terms, and they're no longer viewed as a problem. Now, Dortmund, for their part, they have consistently said Jadon Sancho will play for Dortmund in the coming season. As recently as yesterday, the Dortmund director, Sebastian Kehl, said the following: "He is here and he will stay here." It was an important statement for the club because we have a certain responsibility. Without Jadon, this team is worse. And he went on to say, yes, someday he might leave for a new challenge, but right now he is happy at Borussia Dortmund and Borussia Dortmund is happy to have him. Now, I'm told today Dortmund and those close to the deals have been bemused. They've been bewildered by the way Manchester United have approached this particular deal. So the question is, what happens next? United, yes, they might yet go in for Jadon Sancho later in this transfer window and then hope Jadon Sancho hands in a transfer request or at least agitates Borussia Dortmund for a move to Manchester United. The big issue associated with leaving it late is that Dortmund, of course, will need to bring in a replacement. If Jadon Sancho's not in that squad, they need someone to replace Jadon Sancho. And that being left quite late because they are planning their season with Jadon Sancho in that squad. As for Manchester United, the danger is the following. Such has been the focus on them concentrating on trying to get one player over the line. They've seen their rivals, the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City, go out into the transfer window and bring in their targets. As a result, with just 13 days to go in this window, any player that Manchester United go for could be, and I say could be, perceived by the selling club as perhaps an act of desperation. Manchester United didn't manage to get Jadon Sancho. They must be desperate to bring players in. And United are well aware that the price goes up once Manchester United enter a bidding process. If a selling club is going to Manchester United for a player, the selling club will think, it's Manchester United. We can charge a little bit more here. And I'm guessing that will only be accentuated. It will only be reinforced the later in this window we go, because the perceived desperation of United will obviously grow. Now, look, Manchester United, no doubt, they surprised many people, didn't they, at the speed that they did the transfer of Donny van der Beek. It will need something more along those lines if some people say Manchester United will save this transfer window. They will need to do something and something quick.
And Kavi, it's a great point that Darmish makes there in terms of the perils of leaving it late.
Well, look, Darmish said that Borussia Dortmund are bemused and bewildered. I think those were the words you used about the way Manchester United have been behaving. And I think a lot of Manchester United supporters are bemused and bewildered about how United have been handling this pursuit of Jadon Sancho. Obviously, we don't exactly know what is going on behind the scenes, but we know that personal terms have been agreed, the agent's fees have been agreed. We've been told the player is willing to move to Old Trafford. All that needs to be sorted out is the fee between the two clubs, and that's where there is the problem. Because Borussia Dortmund want £108 million, Manchester United are simply not going to pay that. What I find interesting from what Darmish says, apart from this quote about Dortmund being bemused and bewildered, is what he says time and time again. He says Jadon Sancho would be willing to come to Manchester United. He never says Jadon Sancho wants to come to Manchester United or would like to come to Manchester United. It's just willing. And the feeling that I get is that Jadon Sancho is in a win-win situation. Because if he moves to Manchester United, yes, his wages are going to go up, but he will move to a club who are in a transition period. Whereas if he stays at Borussia Dortmund, He's staying at a great club who've got great young players. Okay, they're not going to be favourites to win the Bundesliga because of Bayern Munich, but you could argue, you could make a pretty good case that they have got a better squad than Manchester United when it comes to Champions League pedigree. So I don't think it's going to be a problem at all if Jadon Sancho was to stay, especially because clubs as big as Manchester United would come in for him next summer or the summer after that. We're talking about Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, PSG, Liverpool, clubs of that calibre. So reading between the lines of what Darmesh is saying, I think the reason that Jadon Sancho is relaxed about all this, and he's no more than willing to move to Manchester United, is because he knows that he's already at a great club. Yes, a great club who are also a selling club, but Dortmund are saying, we don't need to sell him, we can wait.
Two sides of looking at this as well, if Jadon Sancho doesn't go in this transfer window. From Borussia Dortmund's perspective, the positive is they get Jadon Sancho for at least another season. He's got 3 years left on his contract. The other thing that they could look at is, with the COVID-19 climate and the financial climate we're in at the moment, it seems that Manchester United were the only show in town. Carve alluded to it there. Next summer, there could be many more clubs that could be interested and be able to afford Jadon Sancho, could push the price up. But the future is so uncertain with COVID at the moment that who's to say that the financial implications of COVID wouldn't be felt next summer, and perhaps even worse. And then you have a player who's got 2 years left on his contract. Could Dortmund then command a fee of £108 million next summer? But as far as Manchester United are concerned, you look at their position, they can offer Jadon Sancho Champions League football this season. Now, if they brought Jadon Sancho in this summer, they're obviously going to strengthen their squad, they're going to strengthen their team, giving them a bigger chance to qualify for next season's Champions League, to challenge for the top four, to challenge for the title, etc. If they don't bring Jadon Sancho in this window and think they can wait till next summer, who is to say, especially given how the season has started? I know it's only one game, but you know, there's a lot of knee-jerk reactions about how Manchester United will do this summer, this season rather. Who's to say that they will qualify for the Champions League next summer? And Jadon Sancho has always maintained he wants to be playing at a club that's got Champions League football. Who's to say Manchester United will have that next season?
Let's just cut straight to the chase. Jadon Sancho is Manchester United's #1 target. There are only 13 days of the window left. Why have United not made a bid for him? Why?
Well, number one, there was the gap with agents' fees and personal terms. They wanted to sort that out first before they attempted to even broker a deal with Borussia Dortmund. The big reason has always been the price. All the noises we've been told is that they were never going to write a cheque for £108 million straight out. Dortmund are under no pressure to lower that valuation because they've got a player who's got 3 years left on his contract. So why should they lower a price of a player? Because they've always maintained there's no COVID discount with Jadon Sancho.
Why don't United do what Gary Neville has suggested and just move on to another target? They're not going to sign Jadon Sancho.
He's clearly still the #1 target.
He is.
They can't pay £108 million.
Right, there's two. You can look at this in two ways. He is their #1 target, but we've also been told that they are looking at alternatives. And they're looking at alternatives like Inter Milan's Ivan Perisic, maybe a short-term fix until next summer when they may have more finances at their disposal. They've been looking at Douglas Costa at Juventus. They've also been looking at Kingsley Coman, the Champions League winning goal scorer for Bayern Munich. But one thing I would say about all of these alternatives, there's even Ousmane Dembele's been mentioned today as well. What I would say about all of these alternative options to Jadon Sancho is that I haven't heard these alternatives go as far as a bid, go as far as, yes, they're in talks or anything like that. Does that mean that they're not interested in these other players, or does that mean that Manchester United still feel that there is still a deal to be done with Jadon Sancho? Because as much as Borussia Dortmund are saying there is no deal, he will stay, we haven't actually heard from Manchester United to say we are no longer in for Jadon Sancho. And while that's the case, we have to maintain this chat. And people will say, why do you keep talking about Jadon Sancho? Well, we'll stop once Manchester United say it's over.
Can I get a word in? Just to back you up there, Darmesh, I think it is telling that not one person associated with the club or involved in the club has gone to us, has gone to other media outlets and dissuaded the talk of their continued interest in Jadon Sancho. Clearly, there is a difference of opinion in terms of valuation, but we've not yet had the guys move on, look at someone else, stay off Sancho. And I just think that does leave potentially still the window open.
And maybe it's a discussion for another night, but should Manchester United be buying a player who is only willing to come to Old Trafford?
That's definitely a conversation for another night, Callie.